Telling a man he is free will make him lethargic. Tell a man he is trapped, and he will destroy the walls with his bare hands. Tell him he can't have anything, and he'll burn the world to get it. Machiavelli recognized the fact that most modern minds are unable to comprehend. The human spirit does not follow rationality, it works on resistance. We are wired to defy. We are predisposed to safeguard our ego's weak feeling of autonomy. Because of this, the straightforward approach, asking for what you want, begging for affection, or demanding respect, is the quickest way to lose it. If you want to have control over the outcome, you must stop chasing it. You must master the art of inverted commands. You've been told your entire life that honesty is the best policy, and that if you want anything, you should speak out. And where did that get you? Ignored, disregarded, and taken for granted. The people who actually rule the world, the seducers, negotiators, and strategists, they don't ask. They create a reality in which you give them exactly what they want while pretending it was your idea all along. This isn't a game. This is the structure of the human will. And once you see the strings, you can never return to being a puppet. The following are the 13 Machiavellian laws of reverse psychology. These aren't parlor tricks. These are psychological weapons designed to disarm the ego, overcome resistance, and awaken the underlying primal desires of those around you. However, before you can use these laws, you must first master the hardest person in the room, yourself. Because if you attempt to employ these weapons while your emotions are out of control, they will backfire. They'll destroy you. The blade is sharp and can cut both directions. We shall advance beyond ordinary resistance to the darkest corners of influence. By the conclusion, you'll understand why the person who cares the least has the most power. And how to become that person. Let we begin. Law 1. The illusion of choice. The most fundamental yearning of the human ego is autonomy. When someone feels coerced, their wall goes up. They will reject an excellent concept merely because it was not their own. The amateur commands. The master provides options. Machiavelli understood that if you desire a specific result, you should never force the situation. You curate the alternatives. You give them 2 doorways. Door A represents the desired outcome. Door B is an outcome that is slightly worse for them but still leads to your goal, or even an outcome that is undesirable to them, forcing them to choose door A. Think about a child. If you tell him to go to bed, he will struggle. He yells, he establishes his dominance. But if you ask, would you like to go to bed now or in 5 minutes? He picks 5 minutes. He believes he has won. He believes he is the captain of his fate. But in truth, he is walking into the sleep you have planned for him. Adults are simply children with larger vocabulary and greater defenses. Never remark, this is the deal. Say, we can sign this today and lock in the price, or we can wait until next quarter when the rates rise. It's entirely up to you. You've released the pressure. You have given them the power of decision-making. Their pride is calmed. They will take the road of least resistance, which you paved. You aren't a dictator. You are only a landscape architect. They stroll anywhere they want, but you built the roads. Law 2, the forbidden fruit. There is no stronger magnet than a do not enter sign. In psychology, this is known as reactance theory. When our freedom is threatened, we feel a strong urge to reclaim it. We want what is scarce. We desire what has been denied. We want to know what is behind the velvet rope. If you want someone to be obsessed with an idea, do not sell it to them, prohibit it. Present it as something too advanced, hazardous, or exclusive. If you want someone to chase you, don't put yourself on a platter. That is inexpensive. That is common, and common things are treated indifferently. Instead, construct a barrier. I don't think we'd work out, we are too similar. You probably should not watch this video. The majority of individuals find it too unsettling. Consider what happens in your own thinking. You leaned in, right? When you tell someone you can't, their ego says, watch me. They will work more to prove themselves to you than they would if you had begged for their attention. By disqualifying them, you push them to seek your validation. You flip the script. You're no longer the seller. You're the prize. Law 3, strategic surrender. Most people quarrel because they want to win. The strategist believes that losing is temporary. When confronted with a stubborn, aggressive opponent, pushing back just reinforces their attitude. It's physics. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. You push and they push back, stop pushing and instead pull. Machiavelli suggested that in order to defeat an enemy, you must first agree with him. When someone insults you or your idea, do not respond. Agree. Make their point more clear. Take it to the logical limit until it becomes nonsensical, or simply accept their concept with complete tranquility. You're correct. My plan is dangerous. We probably should not do it. It could be preferable to stay where we are and do nothing. Keep an eye on them. They are poised for contact and ready to battle. When you give up, they lose their balance. They fall forwards. Suddenly, they are arguing against their own prudence. Well, I did not say we should do nothing. Removing the resistance forces them to fill the hole. Often, they will begin arguing your side simply to re-establish equilibrium. To learn reverse psychology, you must understand that you do not have to be the one driving the car. Sometimes you can take your hands off the wheel, knowing that the alignment will drive you exactly where you want to go. Law 4 is the emptiness of silence. We live in a noisy world. Everyone is broadcasting, explaining, and justifying. Silence has become the world's most expensive commodity. And because it is uncommon, it is terrifying. When you explain yourself, you lose power. You give them data to evaluate, criticize, and deconstruct. The Machiavellian understands that the less you speak, the more terrifying you appear. Use silence as a vacuum. If you pose a question and receive a half-truth in response, do not speak. Do not try to fill the uneasiness. Look them in the eyes and wait. The human mind despises a vacuum. It panics silently. It assumes the quiet indicates that you know something they don't. It assumes you're judging and calculating. They plan to converse to lessen the strain. They'll reveal the truth. They'll bid against themselves. They will make compromises they never plan to make simply to break the spell of your silence. Silence isn't empty, it's heavy. Learn to let it hang in the room until the opposition's will is crushed. Law 5, the narcissistic mirror. Everyone is the hero of their own film. They're not looking at you. They're looking for a reflection of themselves in you. If you want to influence someone, don't try to convince them with logic. It will not work. They don't understand your rationale. Instead, mimic their values, language, and stance. But here's the dark twist. Mirror their ideal self. People wander about with an idea of who they wish they were. Noble, intellectual, dangerous, and caring. If you treat them as if they already are that person, they will develop an addiction to you. You become the mirror, revealing their best side. I know you are the type of person who prioritizes loyalty over all else. I know you're too smart to fall for that. I understand you are a risk taker. Labeling them with a favorable attribute traps them. To retain their ego, they must now act according to that label. If you tell someone they are too fair-minded to let a detail derail a deal, they will surrender the point to demonstrate their fairness. You've boxed them in with their own conceit. Law 6, which you probably couldn't challenge. This is the nuclear option. It addresses the ego's deepest insecurity, competence. If you want someone to do something difficult, don't beg. Do not provide prizes. Test their capacity. I need this completed. However, it's probably too complicated for your team right now. I might have to outsource it. I was going to ask you to join us, but I know you can't take this kind of risk. The ego will not allow that to stand. It sees a challenge to its status. It has to prove you wrong. They will bear the burden, risk, and struggle merely to regain their sense of superiority, but take care. This demands a gentle touch. If you are overly forceful, it comes across as an insult. If you are subtle, it sounds like a problem. And a concern is considerably more difficult to overcome. You're sheltering them from failure, and they will destroy themselves to prove they do not require your protection. The 7th law is the dread of freedom. Kierkegaard described anxiousness as the dizziness of freedom. People claim they want complete freedom, but they do not. Absolute freedom is debilitating. This is the abyss. When you say to someone, "Do whatever you want," I don't care. You are not liberating them, you're terrified them. In relationships, the spouse that demands to always know where the other is the weak one. The partner who says, "Go have fun and do whatever you want," is in control. Why? because offering unlimited permission eliminates the thrill of disobedience. Nothing exciting happens when nothing is forbidden. Furthermore, your lack of possessiveness demonstrates that you are not frightened to lose them, which is terrible. It communicates that you have options, that you are safe, and that you are the reward. They suddenly forget about the freedom you provided them. They are wondering why you surrendered it so easy. They will stick close not because you forced them, but because they are scared of getting too far away from your apathy. Law 8 is the false weakness. According to Machiavelli, seeming to be foolish can be advantageous at times. To appear slower, duller, or more inexperienced than you are. People get wary when you appear bright, assertive, or perfect. They compete with you. They want to break you down. However, when you appear slightly imperfect, confused, or in need of assistance, people relax. They lower their shields. Their ego grows, they want to help, correct, and teach you. I'm not sure I understand how this works. Could you please clarify your strategy again? In order to demonstrate their cleverness, they will reveal their hand. They'll offer you the information you need. They'll underestimate you. There is no better advantage in war than being underestimated. Allow children to imagine they are the cat playing with the mouse. By the time they understand you're the lion, their throat has been exposed. Law 9, constructive pessimism. We live in a culture of toxic positivity. You can do it. Believe in yourself. It is noise. It's inexpensive. Sometimes the best approach to motivate someone is to acknowledge their doubt. When someone says, "I don't think I can handle this," do not answer, "Yes, you can." Say, "You are right." This is going to be extremely difficult. Most people would quit. It may not be worth the pain. This does two things. First, it confirms their feelings, resulting in instant rapport. You are the only one who does not deceive people with false hope. Second, it activates the fighting instinct. By presenting reality as dark and challenging, you make success more meaningful. Failure is embarrassing if you claim it is easy. Failure is to be expected when you declare it's practically impossible. But success becomes heroic. People don't desire easy victories. They desire to slay dragons. Stop handing them safety scissors and calling them warriors. Point at the mountain, warn them they probably won't make it, and then watch them start ascending. Law 10, the implanted idea. The most powerful concept is one that the subject believes is their own. Telling someone what to do is a command. If you guide them to the conclusion and allow them to express it, it is a revelation. This demands patience. You drop crumbs, you ask leading questions. You highlight a problem but provide no solutions. You let the silence sit. You wait for their brain to connect the dots you've drawn. It's strange how our competitors are reducing costs. I wonder what they see that we don't. You leave it there. One day later, your manager approaches you and says, "I've been thinking we need to restructure our budget to remain competitive." You smile. You agree. You like their forethought. You do not claim credit. You don't say, "I told you so." The credit is the price you pay for control. Let them wear the crown as long as you whisper the decrees. Law 11, the contrast principle. The human brain cannot evaluate things independently. We can only determine whether something is pricey, weighty, or sensible by comparing it to something else. If you want your specific request granted, make a far larger, more outrageous request. I need you to work late every night this week to complete the job. No way, that is something I cannot do. Okay, I understand. Can you give me at least 2 hours tonight so we don't get too far behind? Okay, I can do it tonight. If you'd asked for tonight right now, they might have hesitated. However, it feels like a relief in comparison to the other nights. It feels like you made a surrender. They believe they have won the negotiation. Always base the negotiation on the extreme. Define the battleground so that the center ground, where you really want to be, resembles a sanctuary. Law 12, controlled incompetence. This is a subset of false weakness that occurs frequently in relationships and hierarchies. If you do something very well, you will be punished with more of it. If you fix the printer once, you will be the IT guy forever. If you are the responsible party in the relationship, you will bear the mental burden until you break. Sometimes the most Machiavellian maneuver is to purposely fail, To be clumsy, to forget, or to perform the work so poorly that you are never asked to do it again. This is weaponized incompetence. It compels others to step up, it safeguards your time, it removes tasks that do not help your final goal. Don't be the hero who grabs every dropping plate. Allow a few to crush. The sound of breaking glass is often the only thing that alerts people to your worth. Law 13, withdrawal, the ultimate law, the most potent. We appreciate what we may lose. You can be charming, talented, attractive, and intellectual. However, if you are always available, you are not worth anything. The economic logic of supply and demand also applies to the human psyche. If you believe you are being taken for granted, do not complain. Don't argue, disappear, draw back your energies, take longer to respond, be less enthused. Cancel a plan. Make a void where your validation used to be. This quick disengagement causes basic panic in the other individual. Have I lost them? What has changed? They will pursue. They'll overcompensate. They will suddenly notice how much space you took up in their life now that there is a void in it. However, this must be done without anger. A tantrum occurs when you withdraw in an angry state. If you withdraw with indifference, you have power. It indicates that you are quite fine without them, and that is the only signal that warrants genuine respect. Now pause, take a breath. You're listening to this and thinking about how to apply these laws to your boss, your relationship, and your enemies. You're imagining what threads you'll pull, but you're missing the point. Why do you feel compelled to control them? You feel out of control. The need for manipulation stems from fear. Fear of abandonment, fear of insignificance, fear of other people's chaotic and unpredictable behavior. You want to utilize reverse psychology as a shield, a technique to ensure outcomes in a world without guarantees. But here's the catch, the paradox. You can only effectively apply these laws if you don't need them. Think about it. The person who is completely detached, who is fully secure, and who doesn't care if they get the deal or the girl will naturally use all of these laws without even trying. They are scarce because they lead a life. They are mysterious because they do not feel the need to overshare for validation. They allow people to select because they are not afraid of the decision. The approach is simply a replica of the attitude. If you exploit these laws as a desperate ploy to get someone to love or respect you, they will detect the stench of your dependence. You can't pretend separation for long, the mask will slip. So the ultimate reverse psychology is on oneself. You have to convince yourself that you don't need the outcome. You must create a life so rich, a mind so reinforced, and a goal so clear that rejection by others is merely data, not a wound. When you stop expecting the world to applaud you, the world starts pursuing you. So here's your task. Don't try to apply all 13 laws. Tomorrow, you'll look like a psychopath. Pick one. Choose the option that scares you the most. Perhaps it is silence. Maybe it's a withdrawal. Perhaps it is agreeing to an insult. Try it only once. Observe the reaction. Watch how the dynamic changes. Watch how the energy in the room shifts from them to you. At that point, you'll realize you've been playing the game with your hands tied behind your back. You have been playing by rules that no longer apply. You are not late in gaining this knowledge. You are just on time. The world is a chessboard. Most people are pawns, moving mindlessly and reacting to the square in front of them. It's time to start playing like the hand that moves the pieces. If you are ready to quit being a spectator in your own life and learn the language of power spoken in the shadows, subscribe to the channel. We will not teach you how to blend in. We teach you how to transcend. I will see you in the future video. Do not let them see you coming.